All right. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to the demo hour from ToolJet, where we have a special guest today joining us from MariaDB. We have Alejandro with us, where he'll be joining us with us today on building an integrated inventory and auto management system using MariaDB and ToolJet. So we'll be building an interesting, complete kind of and inventory management tools which can be helpful for your supply chain systems and managing all of them, so where it comes in handy in terms of building applications rapidly using the low code solutions much more effectively and getting the help with MariaDB. Absolutely. So I see a couple of folks joining from, so just look forward for any others to join at the same time. All right. So let me quickly introduce to the guest today. We are joining with Alejandro. So he's a developer advocate at MariaDB. And on top of that, he's been into the world of web and also for quite a while into the complete JavaScript. So and Java mostly, and also about building distributed systems and also completely into the MariaDB ecosystem for now. So welcome to Alejandro, who is a developer advocate at MariaDB. So, hi, Alejandro, how are you doing today?
Hello, Teja. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. It's gonna be fun. I guess we're gonna learn. I'm gonna learn for sure from you and how to build apps with low code platforms. So I'm really interested in seeing what you are gonna do. Although we have been coding together, low coding, should I say, before. So yeah, looking forward to the session.
Absolutely. I'm super glad to have you here, and thank you so much for being here. We are glad and super privileged to host you today at the same time, and I can't wait anymore to move forward in terms of building these things right from the beginning. So, but to just begin with, I'll just quickly bring up the actual application, what we are going to build, and show them how the actual application of an inventory and order management app actually looks like, and then see what we could build with it, so that we'll see how we can manage in terms of the MariaDB part from your side, and also building the actual application from my side. So it's so everyone who is listening here. So we are actually breaking the work. So Alejandro will be completely taking care of the backend part, where he'll be helping us to actually build the entire backend system with setting up the databases. Prior to even setting up the databases, there's a lot to learn about how do you set up, what are the choices that you have to make with MariaDB, and a couple more options that you have to explore and what suits you. So a lot more things to explore in terms of the MariaDB and setting up the perfect structure for your database. And once after we are done with setting up the perfect database thing for us, we'll jump on quickly and start building the UI and then connecting it to the database with the ToolJet integration with MariaDB from our data source gallery. So this is the entire structure. So we'll be quickly jumping on showing you the actual application. So let me quickly screen share. Awesome. So this is inside ToolJet application. So we are inside the ToolJet app builder. So where we call this the entire place is your the canvas where you have all the components placed here. So I'm just showing you the actual application that is built inside the ToolJet, where it has a dashboard and it's a demo app. So the data that you see is not really true. So it's more dummy data coming from the backside. But in to be more genuine, the actual data that you see is somewhere actually fitted right from the UI itself. But when you get into the real time, where you get on to the product inventory, where this is the data that is actually coming from the database that we have configured using the MariaDB. So we are using a SkySQL here, where Alejandro will be helping us walking through all of that and how we set up and do all of these things. But then here's glimpses about how the app would look like in terms of a inventory, where you have options and looking at the high level overview of the quantity in total and what are in stock and what are in low in stock, out of stock, and a few other things in terms of products. How do you add a product? And then at the along with that, you have some search features, where also table also comes with its default search thing. And then coming on the other side, where it's about the orders. So this is all about the products, and you get into the order side, where you have the orders coming up from another table of the MariaDB, where you have different statuses, where the moment you click on select a new order, where you should be able to see the details of the order. So yeah, you can also create an order right from there, and then these are movable so that you can shift from one place to another. Right. So I think I got you the high level overview of what the application that would be looking like while building the UI with ToolJet, at the same time the backend with MariaDB. So as we begin, we'll be beginning with building up the product inventory page. So these are all the pages that you see here. So we'll jump on to specific aspects of what are all these, how these things are built. But then, yeah, so we'll just start with the SkySQL thing, and how do you set these things so that the moment we get into the tooljet, we would not need to look back again, so that we would just need to drag and drop the components, quickly build the UI, and connect to the databases. So connect to the databases on the query panel and start building this application live. So if you have to look the actual preview of the application, you can click on this button, the eye icon that you see there. So the moment you click on there, it should be taking you to the actual application. So this is the inside application, the app. There's an app inside the app builder, but then this is the actual app that you can see as a preview. So yeah, I hope you got the context. But then yeah, getting on. So I'll hand it off to Alejandro to help me and help everyone us here to walk us through the SkySQL and how we can configure these things to get this thing done much more easily with the help of the SkySQL. Sorry. Okay. Over to you, Alejandro.
All right, thank you, Teja. I'm gonna try to share my screen, my entire screen. Let's see if this works. Because I don't have any slides today, I'm just gonna go straight to a browser, a web browser, and go to skysql.mariadb.com, which is a service that allows you to deploy MariaDB on Amazon Web Services or Google platform with a few clicks. You're gonna see it. So I have already signed up to this, so I just need to click this button. And yeah, I have created stuff. I have been playing around with this, but I wanted to show you this, all right? So we're going to create a new service. By the way, you can also monitor MariaDB database that it's outside SkySQL here. It's pretty cool. And you're presented with these options. So you have to, take decisions on what kind of application you are implementing with a platform like ToolJet. So for example, if you are just experimenting right now, or you want to create a test environment for your project, or it's a very small app, you don't need high availability or nothing. The application, maybe it's not going to scale, that's just for a very few users, etc. This is perfect. So it's a single MariaDB Enterprise node, which it's based on the MariaDB Community Edition, but it has some improvements. You can go maybe with Enterprise Server now with replicas, and that's what we are going to use today. So this is more like for production. You can scale the reads with this option. So basically what we're going to create is one node, this one, the colored one. It's going to be the primary server, and it's going to handle all the writes. And these two guys here, they are just replicas. So when I write here, you get the data automatically here and there. And now the reads, so the ToolJet application, it's gonna go there automatically. You don't need to worry about it. It's handled by SkySQL, and it's gonna load balance the reads, right? Like selects and this kind of stuff. And then you have something for analytics. So if you are actually building kind of a reporting tool, like a dashboard with kind of a graph there or something, this is a great option. Basically, it stores the data in columns, so you need to worry about indexes. If you know about databases, managing indexes in tables could be difficult. Now, there's also some other options there, like expand, that's for writing also, for scaling also, write. So that scales. Like if someone says that relational database don't scale, show them this, expand distributed SQL, they do a scale. And there is also something for another one for analytics. serverless analytics powered by Apache Spark and Apache Zeppelin, which is a notebook. Um, I'm not going to go through those. I'm just going to create this one here. Okay, so let's click that one. And then I can select the platform or the cloud, the public cloud that I want to use. So let's pick, I could pick Amazon Web Services and then the region. Um, you can select the architecture. So if you want to use ARM processors, you can do that. You can select the size of this instance. So for example, in terms of CPUs, so maybe 2 or 4 or 8, and in terms of memory. So I'm going to go with the smallest one because it's just a demo. And after that, you can scale, enable auto scale, which is pretty cool. So for example, let's say at some point our application gets so popular that we need to increase the capacity of this database server. We can scale up and down, right? So vertically, that means, for example, making the instance bigger or all the instances bigger automatically. So SkySQL detects that peak in the workload, and it creates or it replaces the nodes with bigger ones, right? And you can tell until which point you want to scale automatically or horizontally, right? So add more nodes, for example, 4 replicas, and also so it allows you to shrink when your application doesn't have a very high workload, which is pretty cool. Here you can select, okay, first let's go through this storage type. You can select the storage type. You probably are going to go with this one. You can also tell it the size of the storage and enable even auto scale of that as well. So let's enable like up to 200. We are on the 100 gigabytes. And the number of replicas. So we can go with 0, for example, if we are just starting. So there's just one primary server. So it would be only this guy here. This is an icon. It is not really updating as I change these things. Or we can go with 1 replica. So it would be two virtual machines there, or 2 replicas. So it would be exactly this. And that's what we're going to do. So let's keep it on 2 replicas. Yeah.
So does the cost affect when we go for the replicas? So when we increase the number of replicas?
Yeah. Yeah, you can see the cost at all times here.
Oh, right? It's dynamic already. Okay.
Yeah, so it changes. So if you look in this area, I'm going to click here like 0. It changes.
Yeah, I see that. Okay.
Yeah, because these are virtual machines, right? It's being hosted somewhere, so the price changes accordingly. All right, and we're talking about MariaDB Enterprise server here. We can select the version. We can call it demo or ToolJet demo or whatever we want to do. And you can also enable support for NoSQL, which is super cool. So if you have a MongoDB application, for example, you can connect that application to the SkySQL, and the data is stored in a relational database in MariaDB Enterprise. And you can join with other tables this data. Super cool. And the application that you're developing totally thinks it's using MongoDB. Then you can add the current IP address from where you are connecting if you need it, or not if you are not connecting from this machine. And you can even enable kind of a virtual a VPN so that your application connects faster. Obviously, you want to deploy these database as close to where you are deploying the application, right? The ToolJet application. So I'm going to say it's going to be Amazon Web Services. I hope it's close to where Teja is going to deploy this. And then you click Launch Service. It takes some minutes. So I already did that before, like 3 hours ago. I did it. And it's there. But this is empty. This is what you get. You get a notification when your service is ready. And you can explore here what you have. So remember I said 1 primary server? Here it is. And then I also said 2 replicas. Here's 1 replica and 2 replicas. And where's this thing? This is called max scale. It's a database proxy that is part of one of the components of MariaDB Enterprise. And this makes all these 3 nodes, or later in the future, for example, 6 nodes, or whatever, 10, or maybe even just 1 or 2. Well, it's going to make all that look like a single logical database. So you need to worry that there are several machines here. Now, for example, the advantage of this is that if for some reason this machine fails, because things eventually fail, right? Hardware fails, software fails. So it might fail. Well, the application continues to run. It's able to connect to database because you still have one replica. Moreover, this is detected and things are solved automatically for you. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all the details of the service. You can see, you can explore by yourself. It's free. You can try it for free, by the way. Just go to skysql.mariadb.com, and then you can see all these. You can follow these along later if you want. Let's get back to the dashboard. So basically, we have a MariaDB Enterprise database ready, and it has 1 primary and 2 replicas. Now we need to start using this database, right? Now, why did I pick this one? Well, let's say this order system is going to get really popular. We need to handle that workload, right? So there are several options to connect. The first one I want to show you is here, workspace, and then you have a query editor. And since I have several services, I need to select the correct one, which is ToolJet, which is the one I'm going to use, or we are going to use for this demo today. And these are just the default schemas or databases in MariaDB. They are synonyms, schemas or databases. And here we just start to create the database. But I don't want to waste our time just you see me typing stuff. So I have my notes here in a separate screen. And this is going to create a new database. So it's going to be added to this list. And this one is going to say, hey, use from now on, like in these lines over here, use that database, that schema as a default if I don't specify it. Now I can run this clicking this or using that keyboard shortcut, which I'm going to use. And if I refresh this list, we should see supply chain. And it has no tables. So let's create some tables. And for that, I'm going to also do some copy-paste work here, just so that we save time, right? But let me explain this to you. So we're creating a table where we are going to store data called products.
Maybe we can zoom it a bit so that it would be much more convenient.
And so ID is just a number which is going to auto increment. And that's going to be the primary key. That means it's going to be the thing that identifies a certain row in that table. We're going to store the name as a kind of a text that varies from 0 to 55 characters. A description that it's much longer, so we are using text here. The price, which we are using decimal with this precision. Category, again, it's just text. It's a bit shorter now. The URL of the image, quantity, and status also as this one as a text. All right. Now we are creating another table for orders. Kind of is the same. There are some differences though. So take a look at this one. So in case I'm saying this in case you are not very familiar or don't remember SQL right now. So we have this column, product ID, is going to reference this one in products. So we are telling it that. So it's an integer that references products and the column ID. So we cannot insert a value that is not in this table, an ID that is not in the products table. And we are storing stuff, right, that you can explore later. Here, for example, for order date, we are saying, well, this is a date. We're not dealing with stamps right now. And the default value is going to be current date. So if I don't specify this value, it's going to insert the current date. But we could also specify it. Well, let's run this and see if it works. So I guess it worked. Now, if I refresh this thing, we should see the tables here. hopefully. Well, let me run again. We should get an error because it already exists. Okay, so for some reason, could it be this browser? This browser is called minimalistic kind of browser. Well, there they are, and you can see the columns, right? Same with the products. Anyway, so you can see the database schema. All right, so now we can insert into products, and then specify the the columns here separated by comma, and then values, and then the actual values, and repeat this for each product. But that's usually not the case, especially when you are developing an application with a low-code platform. What you probably get is, let me bring the Finder here, from maybe your manager or your users or your customers, is files like this. So let's use this first, products. And this is a comma separated values kind of file. And it has the columns that correspond to all the data for the product. So for example, it's the name and the description, and the cost, and the category, and the URL for the image, etc. Same for orders. And we want to import that into these products table. So how can we do it? Well, unfortunately, you cannot do it from here, but that gives me the chance to show you something else, which is, if you're a bit more technical and you like the command line interface, you can do it. Or you can use a tool like dbeaver, for example, this one, or dbgate, or any other, or datagrip, which are like desktop applications to connect to databases. And MariaDB is supported in all these tools. So if you go to connect here, this is the service we created before. You'll see all the parameters to connect to this. Moreover, you can connect from MongoDB, as like I said before, but you can use this and then go to a terminal, which I'm going to bring here, and just paste that there. If you have installed MariaDB in the client, then you can do it. But I'm going to show you something new, which is called MariaDB shell. So just change this with
So
shell.
is this something needs to be installed to start using it?
This needs to be installed. If you go to mariadb.com/downloads, you find it there. It's a program that you install on your computer. Then you open a terminal and you type this stuff, which I just copy pasted, right? Mostly.
Yeah.
Then it's going to ask for the password. So I go back to the portal. It says default password here. So I'm going to copy that, paste it there, and that's not connected. Maybe because I forgot also this detail. Well, maybe that's good because it gives me the chance to explain this part. We need this certificate authority chain file. So I'm going to click download and save it there. Let's close this. Right now it's in here in my computer. Okay, it's right there. And if you have a look at the at what I wrote here, let me exit this. Let me try it. Let me try that again. Right. You see that there is some parameter here that says it has the path to the file that I just downloaded and wasn't there before. So now it should be there. And if I paste this, now it's going all the way to.
Cool. Okay, now we are inside the database.
We are inside the database, exactly. So and now we can type these, for example, to see what you can do, or help maybe if you are curious. But for now, I just want to, for example, show the databases or schemas that are there, right? Databases. So we have supply chain, that which we created in SkySQL. And so let's use that. Supply chain. Oh, database supply. Database changed to supply chain. And then you can see it here also in the prompt. Now let's show all the tables. Tables. I can type. You see the tables. But also you can run queries like select current date. There you go. Or select everything. Or actually, let me show you this. Describe products, which is a table in this database. Now we can do select name and price from products. So we're running SQL queries. There is no data, right? we need to import the data. And so there's something called load data in file, which is a feature in MariaDB that allows you, I'm going to copy paste it here, but let me clear the screen actually, so we are not distracted by all this stuff. So you say load data local in file. Local, it's in this machine, in this. Let me show you. This machine, this is my machine, this is downloads directory. And so that's where I have these CSV files. If I don't specify local, it's going to look in the machine that's hosting the database, but we don't have any files there. And then I just copied the location of that products.csv file, which is this one. And I say, okay, so load data local in file, blah, 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 into table products using this order of columns. So that's how the columns are specified in that file. So let me try that. And we have it. So if we run the same query, we should see the products there. So it's pretty cool. So now you can import all your data into SkySQL using this. So let's do quickly the same for orders so that we can see some data when we are developing the application, implementing the application. So this is now the orders is the same, and it's going to the orders table. And let's select count all columns from orders just to check that everything is correct. So we have 10, which is what we have in the file. All right, so that's how you can load data. Remember, you can handle all these operations here, except the load data in file using this workspace. So you could also run, instead of that, you could run the inserts, which I'm not gonna actually run it. I just want to show you what it would look like. So you can insert into orders, you specify the columns, and then values, and in parentheses, all the values corresponding to these columns, and then comma, and another one, and so forth. You can also do that. Obviously, you can do this from your application as well. But now we have, actually, this is a demo thing. So let's go here. Just so that we see it all. We do have products in the database. It doesn't matter where we run the query. It's going to SkySQL and
it is formatted well. Okay.
Showing. Yeah. And we can, for example, the advantage here is that we can just give me the name, description, price, and category. And also, I'm only interested in URL, for example. So you can filter quickly and see your data very easily.
There are some other options, too, right? So you can quickly download the data.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, what I did was for this demo was I run this first, then I downloaded and created the CSV file. So
okay.
It was the easiest way because you prepared these inserts for me, Teja. Thank you for that. And so I figure actually what people would like to do is to import these data from a file, from an external file.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what happened there. So we have the database ready. Let's get back to the dashboard because now we need to implement an application. And so for that, you need these service details here. And I think you have them, right, Teja? I already sent these things to you.
Yeah. I have them remedy. Yes. So I have to quickly use this as a host and the port, username, password in ToolJet. So it will be getting ready. Yeah, this is interesting. Yeah. So for me, the favorite part of this is somewhere the preview thing, right? You have to, you can quickly look at the data coming up in the GUI where you can see the table itself. Even you can further query by adding filters in the GUI where you are searching for it, right?
Yeah, it's true. And there is, there is also, I forget to pick this one. There are more options. Let me just see real quick. I believe you don't even need to write anything to see the data. Just click products here.
Oh, okay.
And it's shown here with all the filters and stuff. So that's pretty cool. And there are some other things that are interesting. For example, you want to format the code or save the script or maybe open a script that it's in your computer.
Got it. Okay.
You get you know uh, powerful editor here. There are some options here if you want to explore, like hey, don't return that many rows. I'm not interested in seeing all the data, just a few
Cool.
rows, so you don't consume all the memory and you don't affect the database maybe by returning a million rows or something. That doesn't make sense. It's not usable. You can have also all the things that you have been doing are saved here. So yeah, pretty much everything you need except the I have to say uh, low data local in file didn't work, because maybe this editor is not configured for that. Maybe there is a possibility. I have to confess I didn't ask the team, so it could be that I
Mm.
did something wrong. But anyway, now you have this option too, and like I said, you can use other tools. You can use, for example, what I use is I'm a Java developer, right? So I even wrote a book about Java web development, like a shameless
Cool.
plug here to my book. And I use Visual Studio Code for everything, and there is a plugin for databases, not only for MariaDB, but it has really good support. You can find that video if you're interested in the official YouTube channel for MariaDB, which is you find it on youtube.com/MariaDB if you're interested in that extension for Visual Studio Code. But anyway, so let's not get distracted too much with this. I want to now maybe let you, Teja, go through this. I have shared this with you, and I also shared this file. So, let me explain something here, maybe real quick, because it's a bit cryptic, maybe if you are not familiar with this. This is a security thing. This means that any application, or you can think of computer that wants to connect to this database, needs this file, which I downloaded and I placed here. Without it, just cannot connect to the database. So it's pretty secure by default. So not only there's you know password and all that, but also you need this file. Okay, so even though you are seeing all this stuff right now, you cannot. If you're watching this presentation, you wouldn't be able to connect because you need that file. So that's how secure it
Mm.
is. It's pretty cool. It's very, very secure. So I know we are not going to get hacked, at least at the database level, during this presentation.
Maybe I'll get you that banner. I'll get you that issue with you because I'm gonna use this lively and try to show that.
Let's see.
So
Let's see how it goes. Yeah. So yeah. Please, Teja, show us the magic with ToolJet.
absolutely. This is a great introduction. So from now, I mean, usually when we set to databases, we just to look out for the sources setting up in locally or looking for some services externally, and therefore we usually use the MariaDB as something we have to install in certain infra and then start using it. But then looking at SkySQL, it brings more attention towards the level of access and the operations that is that is offering right from the GUI itself, where there was a case that we left into CLI, but still the amount of features and the level of accessibility that we have from SkySQL is impressive. So I would like to go forward. But then, people like me who wants to try out an experiment. So what was the limitations to get into it? Do I need to pay or set some credit cards in the first place to give it a try? Or are there any credits given in the beginning? What is it
So
about?
so you get a certain amount of credits. I think it's $500. It's free. You don't need to introduce your credit card, so it's very easy to try. And then you
Yeah.
can create a service. I would recommend getting like a small instance. Try to connect to it and see if it works. But obviously, explore all the other options there in the documentation that you find in the portal. But it's the barrier is very low. Just go to skysql.mariadb.com and a few clicks. Just I believe it's just like 2 clicks or something. You are in.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So let me bring up ToolJet and actually start connecting to the application and show you how we can go forward with it. Okay. By the way, thank you so much for sharing me the credentials in hand so that we don't need to wander across
Yeah,
during the
it was a good
stream.
idea probably.
Yeah. Okay. So I hope my screen is visible. Okay. So getting on to, is my screen visible? Quickly checking.
I
I don't
can
know.
see it at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I see that it's added. All right, this is great. Okay, so this is where you'll be landing in the moment you sign up or sign into ToolJet. So people who are familiar with it, so they would definitely knowing how do we go and get started with it. So, but then before we jump on to actually creating a new application, the first thing that we need to is connect to the database that Alejandro had just created, right? So how do we do it? Is this something we just get on to the data sources here? Okay, so for that, we will need to be checking on a certain aspects. um, okay, so if you could able to see this, we are actually here with certain data sources where there is no data source currently here, and you just need to click on add new data source, and that is where we need to choose the data source. For now it's MariaDB. Although we connect to SkySQL, it is actually the MariaDB plugin or the integration that you will be connecting to. Okay,
Yeah, it's in the end,
so
it's MariaDB Enterprise Server running there. So
exactly.
ToolJet doesn't know it's SkySQL necessarily. So
Yeah,
it's good. Yeah,
actually, we do not know. Actually, yes. So we
yeah,
just know it's MariaDB thing, and we are connecting to
yeah.
it. Yeah. So that's the URL, and I've got the username. Let me put in the password too. But then, yeah, even if you see this password, I'm not really afraid of it because we have got some other option for the extra layer of security. So the database name, is it supply chain,
Yeah,
Alejandro?
yeah, correct. Yep.
Okay. So I hope I'm right. Okay, so the next thing is about the security layer. You can turn on the SSL and actually set a CS certificate. So I've got the certificate text, the certificate value here. Let me quickly copy this.
Now
Okay.
people are gonna see it, so they can hack us now.
Yeah, I'm going to minimize this a bit. So I'm going to be a little clever here. Okay, so look at that. So I don't need to actually, worry about stopping the screen share again. Okay, let me quickly test the connection. I hope that my IP address is already whitelist, Alejandro. If not, I'm going to quickly share with you so that help me with that.
Yeah,
So if we're going to go and test the connection, if it goes green, we are good. If it is not, I'll blame Alejandro for not whitelisting my IP address.
fingers crossed. Yeah, it's my fault. It's it if it doesn't work.
Okay, looks like it's not going out. Yeah, usually it doesn't take that long. So I think it's the whitelisting error. So yeah, I'll quickly share the whitelisting thing with you, Alejandro. So
All right.
you can find
Yep.
it. Yes, in the private chat we have here. Yeah, so there you go. Yep, I've shared with you so that you can quickly bring it on. Okay, so by the time in the meantime, while Alejandro helps me to actually whitelist my domain, sorry, whitelist tooljet to actually access the database or the service he had just created. So let me quickly walk you through on how you can build the UI itself. So as we
Hey,
are,
Teja, I think
yep,
actually that's the IP address I had configured before. So let's troubleshoot this
is
somehow.
that okay? So did you
Yeah.
add the 32 forward slash? Are we good with that?
Yeah, it looks correct on my end. Let's double check everything there, maybe.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Couple of
So
seconds. Okay.
let me check the the host first.
Yes,
I'm
I'm
just
doing it already. Okay.
yeah, I'm just quickly comparing with the value here. It looks all right, and
So this is the host. Yes, it's actually the same. Yeah, the password. Maybe the PM file. What do you think about the PM file? Do you think it's the right one?
well, let's check that. Well, it gotta be, I guess, because uh, give me the content of that file somewhere in the chat, and
Oh, you want to
and
compare it?
I'll
Okay.
quickly compare with the contents in my own file because I was able to connect from here. So um, I believe,
Okay. So let me actually copy one more time and actually try this.
yep.
So I save this and try to test the connection. Could not connect. Okay. It looks like
Ah, but let's read that. Okay. It says error during pool initialization. Oh, I couldn't see it. Can you show that error again?
yeah, it will come back. You can just test connection.
Okay. For user,
Access denied. Okay, looks like it's an issue with the PEM. Okay. All right.
it,
So
yeah. Can you try? Let's try this. Um, well, someone is saying that the database name is supply underscore chain, but no, it wasn't, and that would be a different kind of error. So it's something with authentication.
all right. So let me test the connection again. Okay. So looks like an interesting problem we have got here. Supply chain. This is correct. Maybe you can even
Wait.
remove this and try that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can do that too,
Oh, the
but
SSL is this the issue?
it should be on.
Yeah,
It
there
was
you
that.
go. Yeah.
All right.
Hey, thanks for someone helping out there. But yeah, but yeah, this is the thing.
Yep.
Looks like we have. I remember enabling it, but something I'm not sure what caused it to disable this. But at the same time, yeah, it worked out.
Yeah,
Okay,
it worked. It
so
worked.
yeah,
Cool.
definitely. Awesome. Thanks for checking on that, Alejandro. So I'm glad we got it working so that we would not need to spend much more time here. Yes.
Yep.
So now we are done with connecting MariaDB to ToolJet. So with that being said, as we get inside the application and we can start actually getting the data from MariaDB to ToolJet, all you need to do is to click on Create New application, and here you are inside ToolJet where you can quickly start building your applications. Okay. So as a first step, I can actually show you how you actually bring the data from MariaDB to ToolJet as a first step. Okay. So for that, anyhow, we're going to get the table as a products table. So we can actually put a table in the first place and populate this table with the information. Okay. So all I need to do is to click on MariaDB, and then we have SQL mode. And then all I need to do is to run a SQL query, select everything from products. All right. So as a first step, you can actually click on preview. So the moment you click on preview, okay, so this got back us here. So
What
we
was
got
that
back
error?
there.
It says access denied.
Yeah, it seems like so. But then
It could be the password that's incorrect, but it
possibly.
said connection succeeded or something, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. All right. Oh, it got back. Looks like, oh, I got the issue. Okay.
Maybe it's a cache issue with the
No, no,
browser.
no. I did not save this. The issue is here. You have to click on the save button.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's
So you just
looks
tested the connection before, not
yeah,
save.
looks like we have to let it auto save. But then yeah, now you have
Yeah.
to click on the yeah. This brought us a new lesson that you have to click on the save button so that it gets saved. So let me
Yep.
see how it goes now. So I'm gonna go select everything from products. Maybe I'll make a quick refresh just to make sure or to avoid any other error messages to not to see any more things. Yeah, I'm ready with this. So refreshed it. So getting onto the query, select everything from products, make a preview. There you go. Awesome.
Yes.
Absolutely. What? It's getting more interesting, Alejandro. So
It
keep
is.
a
It is.
closer eye. Keep a closer eye.
Yeah.
I would need your help moving forward. So yeah, so this is a query which is responsible for us to bring the entire products data from MariaDB. So look at how easy it is. You just need to connect with the credentials with MariaDB, and then once you set up the data source correctly, and you have also seen what are all the mistakes that you can eventually perform. So you're mostly covered. So we hope you would not be able to making much more mistakes. And the amount of time we have taken, I hope you won't, because we already did it. So once you connect to the data source, you have right up here as a new query for bringing all the products right up there. So you can quickly make a preview and save it. So I'm going to name this as a query as get products. All right. So now that you have renamed the query to get products, so you can save this again. It's already saved, no more saves. Okay, so what you can do is you can go forward and change this query, the dummy data. The moment you click on this table, you see the properties of this table where you can come up here and actually modify the table data from the default value that you see here to actually the real data that is coming from the MariaDB. So queries dot get products and then dot data. So this will actually bring you the information, or sorry, the data from MariaDB query right to the table. So you can
That
just click
that
on run.
that autocompletes there. I missed that. Sorry, I think I blinked. You were super fast. So these queries it autocompletes, so I don't need to learn these things. I guess. Ah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
So
see.
exactly. So I didn't let it it didn't let it write myself. So it actually helped me to uh, choosing it from the actual auto suggestions that is giving up. So you can even
Cool.
access much more layers of this the data that we are receiving from MariaDB. So for now we are just interested towards getting the entire data, right? So as now we are here and now you click on that, all of these columns are auto generated, right? So now you have this table ready where that the data is already populated. The other interesting option is that while you are building this as an application, where you wanted to run this query on application load, right? Whenever the application gets loaded, the first thing that you wanted to do is actually to run this query and populate this table. So for that, that's where you can choose the option in the query panel to run this query on application load, right? So the moment you choose this, turn it on and save this, whenever the application loads, the first thing it does, it makes sure this query runs and brings the data and populates the table there. So that's how you configure like the events where you wanted to do some certain events on page load. So that will be helpful. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually build the UI of this application. So I'm here. All right. Okay. So we have seen how do you have a, what do you call, a dashboard and a couple of pages to it. But let's go ahead and actually build the page that is responsible for listing out all the products as an inventory. So we'll able to see what are all the products that are available, and then the list of the data in a table to show us all the products that are currently in the database, and then also to see how you can add a product and see the overall overview of the quantity in stock, low in stock, out of stock, or in total, right? So to begin with, let me also spend some time to make it look good. So you can just set the background of the color to complete white, so the canvas turns white there, and then you can have a container as a sidebar, right? So you can put it up there, and then you can start using this as actually a sidebar. All right. So you can change the color by getting onto the styles and set it to the background color is something to, I'm going to bring the hex code for that so that it will be easy. So you have this hex code, you can paste this, and now you see that table got changed. Sorry, the container color got changed. So we'll just use this as a sidebar to actually navigate between one page to another, right? So at the same time, keep a closer eye how the application is modifying its beauty and turning it to a much more compelling app, and as how it usually used to look before. So now as an option, you see you have this one, and we can add icons to it where you can go forward and say icon, and right from there you can use the icon component and actually bring it to the container that you have just created. Okay, so looks like it got squeezed inside there. Okay, so you can bring it, yeah, there you go. So I've just actually copy pasted where it will be actually uh, drag and drop. So the moment you click and choose an icon, you can drag and drop from there. So that's how you actually configure. So you go to icon and choose an icon and then actually set it. All right. So another icon that I wanted to bring up here is, yeah, this is home. So if you see that, this is already there. The one I wanted to put it here is not home again, but instead I wanted to put something like a package. So you have all the gallery of all the icons that you can choose. So you can say some package or something like this so that it looks like an inventory. So go to styles and change the icon color to white so that it turns white. Okay, so you can beautify it. It's just the amount of time that you would need to spend on it so that it looks much more compelling. So yeah, I'm bringing another icon from a different application that I have, so it's so that we save a little more time here. Yeah, so we have three options. So these are responsible for navigating us to three different pages. One is the dashboard, another is the inventory, another is about the orders. Okay, so right from here I'm just making it a little closer so that it's not too far. Okay. So yeah, this looks good. Minimal versions. So we'll not focus on the UI much must most, but then instead we'll specify on the functionality here. Okay, so you can also have a icon there, just like how you have seen previously. So you can just go forward there and paste it. This is a icon that we have used from a different app. Yeah, that's fine. So okay, maybe it's taking us to a little more convenience on modifying it, but then yeah, let's keep it much simple and minimalistic. So you can go for this is home, and you can add another page. So you can just say dashboard, or sorry, you can consider home as dashboard, but then other we can have inventory. Right, so we are going to create we have created a new page in home. We know what it is. It's actually the table, and we have the container. So then, but then let's stick on to this and actually continue forward as a complete product inventory itself. So but I just want to show you how you can use the pages. So here it is, but then you can also copy paste the entire component right from this page to another page. So once you're up here, you can actually paste this. So you can bring this up so that you would not need to work again from the beginning, right? So right up there in the home, you have a table. So you can cut this and go to the inventory and paste it up here. There you go. So no data loss. All things are very well maintained while moving from one page to another. Okay. So let's go ahead and add a title to this. So all you need to do is actually bring a text component. So I'm bringing this right from the components manager here. You just need to bring a text component there and actually set the title, or the text value is to product inventory. Right, so you can change the style to bold, and set the text sizing to 22 so that it looks a little bigger. Okay, and you can also match this color thing to something more relevant to our theme. So you can click on the style and go to the text color. Where is maybe the background color? No, the actual text color. Yeah, this one. So you can just change it and it turns green. So you can add a divider so that it brings some little division between the page. There you go. Awesome. So this is how you actually quickly create a product in a page. So if you remember the first the initial version, and now you see that it is getting shaped. It is shaping up slowly. So I hope you would be able to realize by now that what it takes to make it more compelling is just the amount of you know of time that you actually spend on setting a few aspects of the application much more precisely, turning it beautiful. Okay, so you can also add another text box and increase the size, and also set the border radius of this by getting onto the styles and go forward, and you can change this border radius. Okay, you can actually use the text input. Yeah, as now you have the text input. I wanted to actually create a search box here. So right up there, you can increase it, and you can set the styles border radius to something like 6, so that it turns the borders little curved, right? And then you say button and you add it up here. All right. So moving forward, I would not be building much of this. Instead, we'll be bringing up the pre-built components. So not to worry about the amount of time that we would be taking. But yes, we'll build as much as we could, mostly focusing on the inventory page and then moving on to the orders page. Okay. So at the same time, let's go for styles and see the border radius can be set to 6. So it's kind of matching there, right? So you can also set the placeholder, search. Okay, so yeah, there you go. So now you have the UI almost ready. At the same time, you can also set the border radius for this table. You can set it around 10 maybe. Yeah, so this is not bad. At the same time, if you see that the data is up here, you can also customize this, where you can actually bring the image first. So if you see that, I'm bringing up the image first, but here it is actually showing us an image URL. At the same time, what you can do is you can convert this type of this to image. So you can say that the column type you see here, it's a string, but instead you can choose it to make a image. There you go. So the moment you choose it to image, it actually previews the image in the table itself. So I know it looks too big, so let's minimize that. There you go. Okay. So and you can also reduce the IDs. Actually, you can remove them. If you're not really interested in IDs, you can remove them. And you can also remove anything unnecessarily needed. The best important thing is adjusting these things, because you wanted to see, as an inventory management, you wanted to see the quantity in the first place, uh, for sure the name in the first, and then the quantity, and then the price of it, possibly the category next, but then status can't be missed, so it should be possibly after the quantity. Okay. So you can also minimize this and set it to close as possible. You got the status, you got the price, got the category, and then the description. Okay. So on the same level, you can go forward and change the style of this table itself, where you can change the border, table type from border to borderless, or better to stay with classic, so you have some different lines, having some different differentiation there. There you go. So I hope you should be able to realize how quickly we were able to switch from a basic application to something more beautified here. So this is the page. So where now you can actually configure these buttons to those pages. So where you can actually switch from home to the inventory, and then to the orders page. Okay. So how do you click that? You see that we got two pages. Let's also create one more page, which is orders. Okay. So yeah, we got three pages. One is home, the inventory, which we have just built, and orders. So we'll mostly focus on inventory, and also it looks like the time constraint is already there. We already reached an hour of the call. So we'll mostly focus on the inventory thing, but we'll let you know how you can go forward and build orders and home in a high level, where we walk you through on building these things by yourself, right? So specifically about the inventory page, so now we have got the data. The other next thing that you would be needing to do is more or less on adding some boards, right? So let me quickly bring them. These are more like a containers, so where you could actually use something like this. uh, yeah. So I'm bringing these components from another application, where this is a container as how we have just created, and there's a quantity and there's a number here. So I'll just remove these things. We would not need them. Okay. So this is a quantity in total. So it's expected to show some value here. If you have to see that, maybe 9. So yeah. So we are going to bring some overview of this data and populate it here. Okay. So the same way, I'm going to bring another container which is already there. So for saving some more time for us in terms of UI, so that we can quickly jump on and actually build the functionality that connects all of this. Okay. So for a random number again, you can put around 10. Yeah. Okay. So then one more thing, we can just check with the container for low in stock. So this is quantity in total. This is quantity in stock. And we got one more for quantity, sorry, the low in stock thing. Okay. So looks good. We can stick with three. We would not need one more thing, but yeah, we'll stick with three things what we have for now. And you can also set this number to something like so we'll fill this dynamically. Don't worry about it. Given we are doing it so that you would be able to relate to what we're doing it. Yeah. So all right, not needed here. Okay, so now you see that it's very much relevant for you. So how you manage these things. If you wanted to quickly preview this, you can click on this button and this takes you to the preview of the application. But then don't surprise, you should be able to see a page here. Yeah, we do not need this. So that's where you comes to the customizing of the application by itself. So you go to the pages and actually disable the menu. So the moment you do this, what happens is it actually hides this pages menu, because we are already operating this with this. Okay. So right from there, you can also maximize the width of the canvas and height of it. Height is something that we can set it to itself, and you can change somewhere around closest or the farthest as possible. So if you preview this, now you should be able to see the application in a wider range. So there you go. So yeah, With just the time that you spend, you can also remove this header in the top. But then, yeah, you can minimize this. You can add functionalities much more. Yeah. Do you realize that on application load, the query is loaded and then it is showing the data right up there? Okay. So the specific functionalities that we will add here is majorly about how you could add a object, a a product into this inventory, and then also give some overview of this containers, the values in it. So you can add this to something like add a product. Yes. So for now, we'll explore the specific certain aspects of. We'll look into how you can jump on and actually add quantity, how you get this number and this, and then also add a product. So for that, let's quickly jump on and actually bring these values and fill them dynamically, and then we'll jump on to adding a product section. Okay. So because this is more straightforward and easy. Okay. So I'm just choosing it in the first place. You can save this. Now that it is already run, we can have another query. It's saved, right? You can run it if needed again, and go add a new query, go choose a MariaDB again, and then the query for bringing up the values of the number of stats in terms of in stock, low stock as an option, and all of this data. You can use this query where you're selecting bringing the count from products table where the status of the products is equals to in stock. At the same time, you see that the products, we are also trying to get the value for the low stock, right? So for the count and the products, which is also the total, right? So the moment you try to preview this, you should be able to see the value of the data coming in terms of three options. One is in stock, low stock, and total. So these are exactly matching with what we have. So you can put it up in quantity, in stock and low stock, and in total. Okay. So let me try, name this as something like get stats. So for products, right? It's okay. So let's keep it minimal. And then now that you have created this, so you can actually populate this, you can go forward and click on this text component and go to the properties, remove the text which is up here, and start using double curly braces to fill it dynamically. So all you need to do, queries.getStats.data. You see that, don't surprise if it's to be empty, because you just need to run it there. So the moment you run it, you should be able to see the data. Maybe you try previewing it again. There you go. So queries get stats to data, and then we need to go for this is quantity in total. So get stats data, and inside the array, we want to go for quantity in total. So you can just search for take the total value, so which is 7. There you go. At the same time, you can also set the loading state of this. You can show loading state by just going and say queries.getStats.isLoading. So this will tell the state of the query that is running, either it is loading, or it's not loading, or is in stock or not, and something there. Yeah. So same here for the other query. So let me copy this and use the same queries for this, just that I have to change the value to something else, which is not total. Instead, it is going to be in stock. Okay. So at the same level, queries.getStats.isLoading will help us to set the loading state of this component. And at the same level, for the next one, paste this, and not total anymore. It is low stock. Okay. So queries the getStat.isLoading. So this will help us to look at the loading state. All right. So at the same level, you can also set this table, click on that, and go for loading state. Loading state, you can add the functionality and set it queries dot not get stats, instead it's get products, and is loading. Okay, we are just setting the loading states. So now you should be wondering what this loading state is all about. So I'll just quickly show you. The moment I actually refresh this, you should be able to relate what is happening by that state. So I'm refreshing this. As it loads up, the queries which you have written would take some time to complete by themselves. So they have to execute and come back and present us the data. In the meantime, it actually shows up the loading state here. So you remember that these are missing because we have not set the query to run on page load. So the get stats, you have to turn on this option to run this query on application load. Okay, so you just need to save that again. So let's witness this one more time. So as you refresh, as it lands on the page, it goes back and brings the query, executes the queries to bring the data, and also executes the query that actually brings the actual live count of the data. All right, so this is how you build bring up the data into the inventory from from MariaDB to the tooljet and present it beautifully in the UI. Okay, so the next aspect would be we'll be looking at is add a product, but I hope this is more like you actually need to add a product, and then that you just need to run a query that performs the add operation. So if you're aware of using the SQL, it's more like insert into, and then you put the table and then set this things done. But then I'm more interested to get on you to bring up the orders as well. So add a product, but let's quickly add a model and show you how you quickly can do that. So you can just say modal, and you can add it somewhere in the bottom. You can actually use the same button here. So instead, you can remove this button and actually use the same thing. But this gives me an opportunity to show you how you can actually bring up another modal by clicking a different button. Okay, so you can add, click on this button and set an event to it. Go to the bottom and click on event, and on click I wanted to show a modal, and that is the model one. Okay, so on click it gives me model. So this model I wanted to set as add a product. Oh, this is the button text. Okay, sure. So you can click on this one now, on the model. Hmm. Component model here and set it up here. Add a model, change the styles down to trigger button color and set it to green. You can say that it's the properties as add a product. Sorry. Yeah, this one. There you go. So the moment you click on that, it brings up a modal where it lets you have options to actually populate the data. So I can I can copy paste some of these components from a different page so that it saves a lot of time. So what I'm going to do is actually copy the entire model. So how you do it, actually, you can just bring up the components and put it up here and configure it. So for the time being, I'm using a copy paste from a different component. All right, so it got hidden somewhere, but yeah, I'll paste it here. Yeah, you can just pull it up. Yeah, there you go. So you have audit product, and the moment you click on that, you should be able to see some pre-existing components right up here. You can add, these are the text component, and this is a text input 4, input 2, and these are all the text input components that are up here. At the same time, you have a text area here. Okay, so also you can have an ID for it if you wanted to have a product ID for each of it. So I'll hard code it for a while, but then we'll show you how you can actually execute to save the data to this database. Okay, so as now the component is ready up there, all you need to do is to create a new query. Go create MariaDB, and then what we will be using is for that specific query, we're going to use insert into. So this specific thing here, which has some data already inserted. So we are going to use a SQL query which actually inserts the data into the products where it has ID, name, price, category, image, and all of that. Okay, so this, make sure you have these components matched. So this is 4, and the ID is 4, and you have the component text area 2. Yes, so it should be name. Uh, Maybe you can put it to some value like 10. I'm just giving a hard code to just give you an example of how that would look. And then yes, so looks like everything is populated well.
You can also not specify ID and insert into and omit the ID, and it will, because I put an auto increment, or you had auto increment to the table.
Oh, okay, so
So it's
i
gonna
can i
add
can
the
avoid this.
next value.
Okay,
Yeah, and then
so
remove it from insert into products. Remove
got
it
it.
from there.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good move. Okay, so all right, so this should be also a good move. So we have name, description, and all of that. So I'm just quickly checking if everything is aligned properly. So if you see that, I'm going to give a product name, a blue t-shirt, and we can set a price to 100. say the quantity is 10 and status is in stock. You can also put a drop down here actually and set it up a blue shirt with white dots. Category, you can say men's clothing. Okay, so now you have that. You can see that preview is happening here, so you can just see that although we are trying to get these values dynamically, you're just inserting the name, description, price, and you see that blue t-shirt looks like it got missed the description. So text area 2, but here it is text area 1, so you just need to say it's 1, and now you see the description is populated, and then you have the price, which is 100, and then the category men's clothing, the image URL. I gave it a default for now, but you can also bring it up right from here, just because there is not enough space here. So, and you have this input 6, which is the quantity right up there, and then we have a status for it, so which is in stock. We are bringing up uh, from here. Okay, so which is in stock here. All right, so this is the query that we have created to actually insert into the MariaDB right from ToolJet application. So as you have it here, now I wanted to link this add product button. The moment I click on this button, I wanted to execute this query, right? So how do you do that? You go for you click on this product and go to the properties. You get into the properties. You see that options to add an event, and you can click on add an event. And on click, you wanted to choose to run a query, and the query is actually MariaDB 3 here, but you can actually see that rename it to add products. There you go. So you can click on that and you see that it's got changed. So the moment I click on that, I'm going to go ahead and run this query. At the same time, as I click on that, as it executes, I also want to close this modal, right? So for that, I need to add another event handler on the same on click. Instead of show alert, I wanted to close, oh, sorry, instead of, yeah, run query, I wanted to close the modal, which is the modal 1. I hope it is more, yeah, it is actually modal 2. The one was missed somewhere in the bottom. Okay, it's still there. All right, so get ready to witness this. So while we click on the add products, it should execute the run query and then actually execute it and save it and then close the modal itself. Okay, so I'm clicking this. It's going to go execute the query add products. It added, and then now that it's also closed, right? So at the same time, you also wanted to witness the the table getting loaded. So how you can also add one more event for that, where you click on add product, and then you wanted to also refresh the data that is coming onto the table. So you can click on run query and also say get products. So what happens here is you can just say white shirt 100 quantity 3 and say that status to in stock. You see that category to men's clothing. You can just say white shirt. Okay, so the moment you click on add products, what happens is this goes up and runs the query that actually saves this and also closes the model and also runs another query which actually refreshes the entire products in the table that we have. Let's look at that. Okay, so it's running it and it's closed it, it's added, and you see that the page got refreshed. So it should be somewhere in the next page, or if you let it to show some more number of components by just saying like 30. Yep, so somewhere here. So but some where is the white shirt?
It's still 7 records, so maybe it didn't
Yeah,
go through.
yeah, possibly.
Let me check quickly in the database.
Yes, that should be helpful. Yeah, I see that it's got added. You see that? Yeah, it's added. So
Okay,
the
cool.
white shirt, yeah, we got it added. But the moment we run it, oh yeah, there you go. We got it added multiple times. Yeah, we're using the same image. Yeah, you can see that, right? So now you know how you perform the get operation, and you know how you perform the add thing, which means you make a post in terms of the query that you are actually inserting into the database, and then you're also fetching and performing some counts in terms of what needs to be brought up here. Okay, so this is pretty much. I'm not implementing the search feature. You can actually use some queries to do the same thing, or even you utilize the a feature of enable transformations, where you can also run use JavaScript to actually count certain aspects, or even to make some filters using the JavaScript code to bring out certain parts of the data by just making a search operation. Okay, so yeah, this is good. We know how to bring these things, and how we brought it. So let's get on to another page. Maybe we can cover a few aspects of it because of the time constraint. But then, yeah, product inventory is good. But then getting on to another page where you notice that we are clicking it, but it is expected to go. So yes, going on, click on this icon and go to the properties, go to events. On click, you wanted to switch page, and the page is nothing but orders. Sorry, it should be, yeah, it's orders. Exactly. So now you click on that, it should take you to the empty page which has nothing, right? So yeah, but you go back to the inventory and you are here. All you need to do is to actually copy the entire component here and go back to the orders. So this time I'm going to go back from clicking on this icon. So right from here, where is the component? Okay, paste this again. Yeah, there you go. So bring this up to the corner. Okay, let's add a few functionalities for this page and quickly wind up for any questions. All right, so I'm bringing on certain aspects right from the previous application. So I brought a title and I'm adding a divider to it. At the same time, I'm copying a modal that helps us to create an order. Where is this button gone? Okay, so I'm going to copy this modal which I'm bringing on and paste this. So this will help us to act as a button to create a order. At the same time, I'm bringing another a new thing called boats. So so there is another thing called Kanban. So if you see that, KNBN, yes, the Kanban boats. So if you add this, you can able to have this component to actually configure in a way that you can set the statuses accordingly and utilize this. So where you can see the orders which are in to do, in progress, and done, right? And you also have an option to add a card. So there was some beautified aspects of this components which I can bring from the other option, other side. So which you can see this. So you can see this green colory thing. So it's the same component, a little modified in terms of styling. So what are the modifications that you should see is it's the styles in the accent color and some IDs here. So we are putting the ID to do and orders to in ID in progress. It'll let you know, you'll understand why we did that. But at the same time, first we need to bring the data inside this, right? So for that, you need to bring up the query panel again and then add a new query. The query is going to bring us the orders. So let's name this as get orders. Okay. So we were using the foreign key as a thing. So I'm going to go bring the query that helps us to actually bring the data in terms of making a foreign key. So here you see that we are trying to select uh, the customer name, quantity, and all of the order details from the order. So with a join on products table. Okay. So as I preview this, it should help me to bring up all the information related to the customer, the order, which is by a customer, and the quantity and the phone number, and then uh, do we have product of it? Yeah, we have the name of the product. Okay, so we got the data of the orders right from the MariaDB, and now we have got it. You can click on save. As now you have this data, you can populate this table with it. But before we do that, we also wanted to set some modifications by using the enable transformations. But this enabling thing, I wanted to add another aspect where I wanted to order these things. If you see this, the id is to do, right? So each and every object that you see here should also have a certain id that helps us to you know place this in certain columns here, which is can be order placed or shipped or delivered. So I need to add another attribute here which can be saying that column id, and then it should be order placed, shipped, or delivered. So for that, I would not need to go back to database and add another column. Instead, I actually leverage the enable transformations here, where you can turn on this and write the javascript code to actually done the get that working for you. Okay, so the javascript code is just the a straightforward way to add write a map on the each object. The data is nothing but the data that you're coming from the database, and your app making a map function where you're taking the object and adding another one where the column ID and the status are actually same. So we are adding another attribute which is column ID, and the value of it is same as the status value inside the object itself. So if you preview this, you should be able to relate what we're doing it here. So if you expand one, you see that there is status as to do. At the same time, we should be able to see that the column ID is also to do, so that we should be able to track these things in the Kanban board, because the Kanban board requires you to have a column ID for it, right? So right, the moment you run this, and then uh, looks like it's already auto populated. It's the main reason is that the query is already attached here. So we say that card data, you say that queries dot get orders dot data, and then all the data is up here. These are filtered based on the column ID we just added right from the transformations. At the same time, let's actually change this. You can click on this and go to and say this to uh, its name, right? Yeah, there you go. So that's a quick way to actually set these things ready. But then, yeah, so this is how you utilize these Kanban boards to actually set the orders you have, which was already taken out from the products database and also the orders database. In the same way, how you added a product in the same style, you can utilize this and set these values in a way that you can select a product from the drop down and the quantity and all of that. All right. So this is a high level overview on how you can build these things, and you can add an event handler for it. On click, you're gonna switch page. So I'm just doing some stuff, inventory. So right to inventory, and now you click on this, you go back to the orders page, right? So yeah, so this is moreover a very high level overview of how you can actually build a minimal product inventory and order management things with the dummy data we are doing this as a demo application. So but I hope you would be able to relate to your unique needs on how you should be able to build your own stylings and also your own personal way of creating for your unique needs, right? So we could have done most of the application in terms of adding much more functionalities to it, but yes, I hope you would be able to relate to it. But okay. So yeah. So pretty much about the high level overview, but I hope you would be able to relate to it. We would be also releasing a blog about it on how you can do it from the scratch, so that you should be able to relate to it. But with the time constraint, we are able to cover the inventory part and also the orders part. So the dashboard part, yes, it's all about the counting stuff, where you can also configure a map or a graph and all of that, and set it up accordingly as required. So we'll look into certain questions and see what we can look forward. Okay. All right, there were suggestions helping us to actually push in terms of making some mistakes. So thank you for bearing with us and also helping us moving forward. That there was a question that software, as a being a software engineer, it finds it a bit difficult to use the low-code tools. When you look at the amount of efficiency that it can bring to your systems in terms of having internal tools managed right from the beginning, where you have to design it and maintain it by yourself instead of building all of them, where it consumes a lot of time. But when it comes to the part of actually building internal tools at scale and managing them at a convenient process, ToolJet, that way it's standards. Maybe you can give it a try and explore, and also let us know what's the difficulty that you are finding it, so that we can help you to move forward. You can try it out at at app.tooljet.com. The moment you sign up, that's where it will take you to, so that you can quickly sign up and start building the application right from there. You can join us at tooljet.com/slack, so that we'll be there for any of the issues that you're facing, so that we can give you a push. All right, so this is absolutely interesting, and I had great time building this. And thank you so much, Alejandro. Are there anything that you can, give us and let us know what we could look forward for?
Yeah, well, it was very entertaining to see how you can build, an actual application by mostly dragging reusable components to a
Yeah,
canvas and then just connecting to a database, a very powerful database in this case was because remember we are using 3 nodes and a database proxy there, and it was all transparent. So to you it was just SQL, but you don't see these complex database topology running in the cloud. So it's very impressive. I wanted to add to the comment on, as I'm a software engineer as well, but I have been always interested in low code solutions since they were called like fourth generation software development tools or rapid application development and these kind of terms. Um,
Yeah.
what I think is that, I mean, there is no silver bullet, right? So there is not just one solution for everything. Anybody saying that, it's wrong. It applies to ToolJet. It applies to MariaDB. There are use cases where are better off using other options in the IT ecosystem. To me, low code is the amount of functionality that you get very quickly. It's crazy. If you have to code these, you probably need a backend language like Java or C Sharp or JavaScript. Maybe in that case would be closer to the front end, where you will have to use JavaScript and potentially a JavaScript framework. Or if you are using Java, then you could use Vaadin again. Uh, but still, you have to you have to connect these things, which is sometimes not trivial. Now, if you are familiar with these technologies, it's going to be fast. But sometimes, even like creating a crowd view only could take time with these more like classic approaches, which give you uh, more flexible, total flexibility, I would say. But then it's you need more time for that. Um, I guess there is there is a place for every technology, and that's the reason I'm here today, because I'm interested in these kind of technologies, and I see the space for that. And you guys are at ToolJet are the proof of that, because I saw it's very popular on GitHub, for example. So a lot of people are using it,
Yeah.
and and so yeah, maybe the drag and drop, and then when you have to adjust sizes and all that could be hard, because you're comparing with, you're going to write css that says width and then 100% or whatever it is, right? So because you have it in mind. But
Yeah.
to get there is super super hard to get to that point. So hats
Yeah.
off to the person giving to Parker project, uh, um, because you probably know well this technology so much that it's easier for you to write the code. So that's very impressive. uh, to me, I find it depends on the use case. Sometimes you need an application just today, or
Yeah.
yesterday. You are already late, need something that works to show to your customers, or maybe for your company to work internally. And this is a quick way to handle data and move the data in a reliable database with a good UX, and not using some spreadsheet or something like that, right? So yeah, I guess that's something I wanted to tell you, and thanks for the demo. It was very very entertaining.
That was fun with you most because I had a great help, helping you in the back because I have an advocate, developer advocate right from MariaDB to help me build a application backend because I did not touch anything related to the backend part. And thanks for helping me uh, on setting up things and helping me with, helping me reduce a lot of work in terms of setting the services, but I have to make it by myself. But instead, now most people would know what the service and how they could also connect to. Maybe we should turn this off
Yeah,
and then delete it even if possible. So yeah,
yeah,
so that was a lot of fun, and thank you so much for this pair thing, and we had a great partnership in terms of building this. At the same time, yes, we were not able to do the application to the fullest, but as far as what we could able to do in the time where it costs in terms of inventory and bringing up the orders and setting up in a card view in terms Kanban cards. So once you have that, it's almost to the verge where you know how you can connect. So whatever the operations that you wanted to do in terms of your requirements, because even if we do the fullest, the requirement changes. It's always unique for unique businesses and business requirements in terms of internal teams. So give it a try and let us know if you could, if you are unable to do it. We are always there in Slack, and also MariaDB has its own huge community across uh, its own community, or even in the Stack Overflow, right? So it's always reachable. Yeah.
yeah. I invite you to go to mariadb.com, where you can find much more information about this database, you can join us on Slack. You just have to Google it. MariaDB is super, super popular. It's the default database in most of the Linux distributions. You can install it there. Just apt get install MariaDB. You need to configure anything. You have MariaDB, and like you saw with SkySQL, just a few clicks, you have the database running.
Yeah.
Happy to help you. Also, you can find me on Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever. Just find my name at maybe MariaDB there or Vadin. You find me quickly. I'm always happy to talk about technology and to help you succeed with these
What's
products.
what's Varin is about? I do not know about the word Varin.
Vadin is a Finnish word.
Okay.
It means female, small female reindeer, kind of. And
Okay.
it is a Java framework for building web UIs. But for that you
Okay.
need to know Java. So it's
All
very
right.
different. It's a very interesting frameworks for Java developers.
Got it. Got it. Okay. But it still belongs to the technology realm. I thought there could be some more analogy behind, but yes, it's still somewhere the framework names comes there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Absolutely. Thank you again for joining us, Alejandro. It's been a wonderful time being with you here and doing it together in terms of building the application from the front and the back, in and out, and everything possible, and making it live happen. So, thank you so much for being here and doing this. And also, we look forward for further more collaborations and moving it forward. And for people who are watching, I hope you had great time doing this. And as always, if you had any questions or anything, you can reach out to the resources that we have shared, and we look forward for what's ahead. So thank you so much. Bye
Thank
bye.
you, and thank you for everybody for joining. So grateful to be here, and let's see. Maybe next time we can build another app with MariaDB and ToolJet.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. See you then. Bye bye.